Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, on this episode of Bullet Points, we've got to take the Washington Post to task. Now, as you guys know, the bullet point segments that we do here are all meant about going into the left's echo chambers, opinion articles, and we are going to counter this one hard because the arrogance is off the charts. They're attacking Georgia, which is my home state, which I'm a little offended about, but more importantly, they're going after everyday gun owners like yourself with arrogance, condescension, and just, and we're going to hit it. But this is exactly why we started the second press on this channel. This is why we have 10 unique writers putting out Pro 2A content every day going to your inbox. This is incredible. There's a link in the description box below. The reviews are off the charts, and there's a 2-week free trial. Please jump in here because this is the stuff that can counter these arguments. These asinine opinion pieces from the Washington Post and far leftist are going to meet their match on the second press. It is linked in the description box below. Please let me know what you guys think. And this article is right below that for your review if you really want to have your eyes pop out of your head. All right, so let's dive into this opinion piece from the Washington Post. I'm going to get spicy, fair warning. Opinion. Brian Kemp atones for his anti-Trump heresy by lurching right on guns. Now, that's a little... whatever, it's an opinion piece. Let's keep going. Partisans sometimes describe their opponents' positions on issues in exaggerating terms to get the voters worked up or even afraid. Quote, Republicans are planning to dismantle Social Security. Well, Social Security will dismantle Social Security. Just saying. Democrats want to destroy the family. Anyway, moving on. But listen to where he goes here. But every once in a while, usually in a primary, a party can move so far that it begins to embody the wild things its opponents say about it, which is what's happening in Georgia. Now, this is based around gun legislation that was just introduced or endorsed by Kemp, the sitting governor. Okay, the state will be the white-hot center of the 2022 elections, with close races for Senate and governor, and even a high-profile race for Secretary of State where Brad Raffensperger, who refused to steal the 2020 election for Donald Trump, is being challenged by a Trump loyalist. Okay, I'm going to bypass that obvious trap right there. But Kemp's latest move to win over primary voters isn't about Trump at all. Kemp now has formally endorsed legislation to allow anyone in Georgia to carry a handgun without a permit, a license, any training, or anything else that might provide even the most minor inconvenience to their Second Amendment rights. It's not about inconveniences. It's about the fact that this is obviously something that the voters want. This is Constitution carry. This is almost in 25 states across the United States. Almost. This year, probably will go over 25. But it's crucially important how worked up they're getting about this. Check this out, and this is where the arrogance comes in. Because if you're a leftist and you want to talk about one of your points and you have no data, cue the arrogance. Everyone loves it. It's phenomenal. While there isn't much evidence the Georgia electorate as a whole thinks their average trip to the Piggly Wiggly features an insufficient number of firearms, Kemp appears to believe this is a winning issue among Republican primary voters. First of all, back up off the Piggly Wiggly. And second of all, just because everyone else in America who have gun rights have to defend ourselves and have to worry about real life issues don't get to go to Whole Foods every single day. Just saying. By the way, who's the party of elitism and the rich people talking down to the others? Who is that again? Okay. Perdue takes the same position and attacks Kemp for failing to deliver enough liberalization of gun laws during his first term. In reply, Kemp says Perdue is a late arrival to the cause of limitless gun proliferation. Oh, this guy. Building a safer, stronger Georgia starts with hardworking Georgians having the ability to protect themselves and their families, Kemp says. Though presumably the lazy and childless would also be permitted to carry guns without a permit. The point of that statement was that everyone has the right to defend themselves, not exactly what Kemp said. This guy's going with condescension on a massive level, which really irritates me. And also, he picked on Piggly Wiggly, which is not cool because Piggly Wiggly is fun. But the whole point here is the arrogance is the reason people are turning away from Democrats and leftists across the board, and they just cannot get it. Arrogance can be blinding, and what we are seeing is leading up to a 2022, which is going to be horrendous for the Democrats based on this approach. For a long time, gun advocacy was primarily defensive. Facts, that's what we're talking about. This is the reason the second press exists. It meant fighting against restrictions liberals wanted to impose, and victory was counted in the number of bills the gun lobby and its allies would quash. This is the part where they start being really truthful and honest about how much danger they're in for their ideals. In fact, The National Rifle Association's greatest power was not in punishing its foes at the ballot box, but in preventing legislation from ever getting written in the first place. Democrats who considered some new restriction would shake their heads and say, "This'll never pass, the NRA will crush it," and so the ideas would be quietly shelved. Keep in mind what he's saying. He started with arrogance and condescension and mockery. Now he's getting into his left-wing readers like, this is actually a concern. Listen to what he says about the NRA right here. This is exactly what we've been saying. Yet even though the NRA itself is an organization in chaos, the pro-gun cause has seldom, if ever, been in a better position. I actually fully agree, but it's interesting that this is coming from an op-ed from the Washington Post, speaking to left-leaning readers. While Democratic-leaning states have enacted restrictions in recent years, the conservative supermajority on the Supreme Court is likely to strike down any number of them. Now, why would they do that? Maybe because they're unconstitutional? Not restrictions. They're laws that violate the law of the land, the Constitution. It's interesting how they put that flowery spin on it, isn't it? I'm not going to read that part. The Biden administration announced some executive actions to reduce gun violence, but without legislation, they won't do all that much. It's like this guy has been watching this channel for a year. The reason I brought you this article is because it shows you the fear. If you go into any article and you can't go with, any argument, and you can't go with facts and statistical analysis, and you have to resort to arrogance and mockery and condescension, and then back it up with, but we actually are kind of afraid, you're losing. And that is why we have the Second Press. That's why we have this channel. And that's why you and I are going to pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. Until the next one, tonight at 9 p.m. segment, I'm Braden. See you later.